The Hebrew Bible, 5 books of Moses. Leviticus, chapter 18. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites, and you shall say to them, I am the Lord your God. Not like the deeds of the land of Egypt in which you dwelled shall you do, and not like the deeds of the land of Canaan, into which I am about to bring you, shall you do. And according to their statutes you shall not walk. My laws you shall do, and my statutes you shall keep to walk by them. I am the Lord your God, and you shall keep my statutes and my laws, which a person shall do, and live through them. I am the Lord. No man of you shall come near any of his own flesh to lay bare nakedness. I am the Lord. Your father's nakedness, which is your mother's nakedness, you shall not lay bare. She is your mother, you shall not lay bare her nakedness. The nakedness of your father's wife you shall not lay bare. It is your father's nakedness. The nakedness of your sister, your father's daughter, and your mother's daughter, born in the household or born outside, you shall not lay bare her nakedness. The nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, you shall not lay bare her nakedness, for it is your nakedness. The nakedness of the daughter of your father's wife, born in your father's household, she is your sister, you shall not lay bare her nakedness. The nakedness of your father's sister you shall not lay bare, it's your father's flesh. The nakedness of your mother's sister you shall not lay bare, for it is your mother's flesh. The nakedness of your father's brother you shall not lay bare, and you shall not come near his wife, she is your aunt. Your daughter-in-law's nakedness you shall not lay bare. She is your wife's son, your son's wife, you shall not lay bare her nakedness. The nakedness of your brother's wife you shall not lay bare. It is your brother's nakedness. The nakedness of a woman and her daughter you shall not lay bare. Her son's daughter, on her daughter's daughter, you shall not take to lay bare her nakedness. They are kin flesh, it is depravity. And a woman with her sister you shall not take to become rivals, to lay bare her nakedness while her sister is still alive. You shall not come near a woman in a menstrual uncleanness to lay bare her nakedness, and you shall not put your member into your fellow man's wife to spill seed, to be defiled through her. And you shall not dedicate any of your seed to pass over to Molech, and you shall not profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. And with the male you shall not lie as one lies with a woman. It is an abhorrence. And you shall not put your member into any beast to be defiled through it. And a woman shall not present herself to a beast to couple with. It is a perversion. Do not be defiled through all of these, for through all of these were the nations that I am about to send away before you defiled. And the land was defiled, and I made a reckoning with it for its iniquity. And the land spewed out its inhabitants. And you on your part shall keep my statutes, my laws, and you shall not do any of these abhorrences, neither do the native nor the sojourner who sojourns in your midst, for all these abhorrences did the man of the land who were before you do, and the land was defiled, and the land will not spew you out in your defiling it is, as it spewed out the nation that was before you. For whosoever does any of these abhorrences, the person who does it shall be cut off from the midst of his people. And you shall keep my watch not to do any of the abhorrent practices that were done before you, and you shall not be defiled through them. I am the Lord your God. Chapter 19. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to all the community of Israelites, and you shall say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Every man shall reverse his mother and his father, and my Sabbath you shall keep. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to the idols, nor make molten gold for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. And when you sacrifice communion sacrifices to the Lord, you should sacrifice it so that it will be acceptable for you. The day that you sacrifice it shall be eaten, and on the morrow, and what is left till the third day shall be burned in fire. And if in fact it is eaten on the third day, it is desecrated meat. It shall not be acceptable, and he who eats it shall bear his guilt, for he has profaned the Lord's holiness, and that person shall be cut off from his kin. And when you reap your land's harvest, you shall not finish off the edge of your field, nor pick up the gleanings of your harvest. In your vineyard you shall not pluck bare, nor pick up the fallen fruit of your vineyard. For the poor and for the sojourner you shall leave them. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal. You shall not dissemble, and you shall not lie. No man to his fellow. You shall not swear falsely in my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not defraud your fellow man, and you shall not rob. You shall not keep the hired man's wagon with you through the night till morning. The hired man's wages with you throughout the night till morning. You shall not vilify the deaf, and before the blind you shall not put a stumbling block, and you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. You shall do no wrong injustice. You shall not favor the wretched, and you shall not defer to the rich. In righteousness you shall judge your fellow. You shall not go about slandering your kin. You shall not judge your fellow. You shall not go about slandering your kin. You shall not stand over the blood of your fellow man. I am the Lord. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall surely reprove your fellow and not bear guilt because of him. You shall not take vengeance, and you shall not harbor a grudge against the members of your people, and you shall love your fellow man as yourself. I am the Lord. My statutes you shall keep. Your beasts you shall not mate with a different kind. Your field you shall not sow with different kinds, and garment or different kinds of thread. Shatneys shall not be done by you. And should a man lie with a woman with emission of seed when she is a slave previously assigned to a man, but has not been ransomed or given for freedom, there shall be an inquiry. They shall not be put to death, for she has not been freed. And he shall bring his guilt offering to the entrance of the tent of meeting, a guilt offering ram, and the priest shall atone for him with a guilt offering ram before the Lord for his offense that he committed, and it will be forgiven him for his offense that he committed. And when you come to the land and plant any fruit-bearing tree, you shall leave its fruit uncircumcised. 3 years it shall be uncircumcised to you, a jubilation before the Lord, and in the 5th year you may eat its fruit, that its yield may be increased for you. I am the Lord your God. You shall not eat over the blood. You shall not divine nor interpret omens. You shall not round off the edge growth of your head, nor ruin the edge of your beard. No gash for the dead shall you make in your flesh, and no tattoo shall you make on yourselves. I am the Lord. Do not profane your daughter to make a whore of her, lest the land play the whore, and the land be filled with depravity. My Sabbath you shall keep, and my sanctuary you shall revere. I am the Lord. Do not turn to the ghosts, and of the familiar spirits do not inquire to be defiled through them. I am the Lord. Before a gray head you shall rise, and you shall defer to an elder, and fear your God. I am the Lord. And should a sojourner sojourn with you, you shall not wrong him. Like the native among you shall be the sojourner who sojourns with you, and you shall love him like yourself, for you were sojourners in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You shall do no wrong in justice, in measure, whether in weight or liquid measure, honest scales, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin you shall have. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and you shall keep all my statutes and all my laws and do them. I am the Lord. Chapter 20. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, And to the Israelites you shall say, Every man of the Israelites and of the sojourners who sojourn in Israel, who gives of his seed to Moloch, is doomed to die. The people of the land shall stone him. And as for me, I shall set my face against the man, and cut him off from the midst of his people. For he has given off his seed to Moloch, so as to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my sacred name. And if the people of the land actually avert their eyes from that man, when he gives off his seed to Moloch, not putting him to death, I myself shall turn my face against that man and his clan, and I shall cut him off, and all who go whoring after him to whore after Moloch from the midst of their people. And the person who turns to the ghosts and to the familiar spirits to go wrong, whoring after them, I shall set my face against that person and cut him off from the midst of his people. And you shall sanctify yourself and become holy, for I am the Lord your God, and you shall keep my statutes and do them. I am the Lord who makes you holy, for every man who vilifies his father and his mother is doomed to die. He was vilified, his father and his mother, his blood guilt is upon him. And a man who commits adultery with a married woman who commits adultery with his fellow man's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress are doomed to die. And a man who lies with his father's wife, his father's nakedness he has laid bare. The two of them are doomed to die. Their blood guilt is upon them. And a man who lies with his daughter-in-law, the two of them are doomed to die. They have done a perversion. Their blood guilt is on them. And a man who lies with a male as one lies with a woman, the two of them have done an abhorrent thing. They are doomed to die. Their blood guilt is upon them. And a man who takes a woman and a mother, it is depravity. In fire shall he and they be burned, so that there be no depravity in your midst. And a man who puts his member into a beast is doomed to die, and the beast you shall kill. And a woman who approaches any beast to couple with it, you shall kill the woman and the beast. They are doomed to die. Their blood guilt is on them. And a man who takes his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and sees her nakedness, and she sees his nakedness, it is vileness, and they shall be cut off before the eyes of their kinfolk. His sister's nakedness he has laid bare. He shall bear his punishment. And a man who lies with a woman while she is unwell and lays bare her nakedness, he has exposed her flow, and she has laid bare the flow of her blood, and the two of them shall be cut off from the midst of their people. And the nakedness of your mother's sister or your father's sister you shall not lay bare, for his own flesh he has exposed. Their punishment they shall bear. And the man who lies with his aunt, his uncle's nakedness he laid bare. Their guilt they shall bear, barren they shall die. And the man who takes his brother's wife, it is a repulsive thing, his brother's nakedness he has laid bare, barren they shall die. And you shall keep all my statutes and all my laws and do them, lest the land to which I bring you to dwell there spew you out. And you shall not go by the statutes of the nation which I am about to send you away before you, for all these things they have done, and I loathe them. And I said to you, it is you who will take hold of their soil, and as for me, I shall give it to you to take hold of it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God who set you apart from all the peoples. And you shall set apart the clean from the unclean beast, and the unclean bird from the clean, and you shall not make yourselves despicable through beast and bird and all that crawls on the ground, which I set apart for you as unclean. And you shall be holy to me, for I the Lord am holy. And I shall set you apart from the peoples to be mine. And any man or woman who has a ghost or a familiar spirit is doomed to die. They shall be stoned. Their blood guilt is upon them. Chapter 21. And the Lord said to Moses, Say to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, For no dead person among his kin shall he be defiled, except for his own flesh, that he is close to him, for his mother and for his father and for his son and for his daughter and for his brother and for his virgin sister who is close to him, as she has not become a man's, for her he may be defiled. He shall not be defiled among his kin to profane himself. They shall not make a baldness on their head, and the edge of their beard they shall not shave, and in their flesh they shall cut no gash. They shall be holy to their God, and they shall not profane the name of their God. For the fire offerings of the Lord their God bread do they bring forward, and they shall be holy. A woman degraded as a whore they shall not take as wife, and a woman divorced from her husband they shall not take as wife, for he is holy to his God, and you shall deem him holy, for he brings forward God's bread. He shall be holy for you, for I, the Lord, who hallows you, am holy. And should a priest's daughter degrade herself in whoring, she has degraded her father. In fire she shall be burned. And the priest exalted over his brothers, on whose head the anointing oil has been poured, and who has been installed to wear the garments, shall not dishevel his hair, nor rip his garments. And near any dead person he shall not come in. For his father or for his mother he shall not be defiled, and from the sanctuary he shall not go out. And he shall not profane for the sanctuary of his God, for the mark of his God anointing oil is upon him. I am the Lord. And as for him, he must take as wife a woman in her virginity, a widow, or a divorced woman, or a degraded whore. These he shall not take as wife, but a virgin from his kin he shall take as wife. And he shall not profane his seed among his kin, for I am the Lord who hallows him. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron, saying, No man of your seed to their generations in whom there is a defect shall come forward to offer his God's bread. For no man in whom there is a defect shall come forward, no blind man, no lame, nor disfigured, nor malformed, nor a man who has a broken leg or a broken arm, nor a hunchback, nor a midget, nor one with a cataract in his eye, nor scab, nor skin and flake, nor crushed testicle. No man from the seed of Aaron the priest in whom there is a defect shall draw near to bring forward the fire offerings to the Lord. There is a defect in him, he shall not draw near to bring forward his God's bread. From the holy of holies and from the holy he may eat his God's bread, but he shall not come in by the curtain, nor shall he draw near to the altar, for there is a defect in him. And he shall not profane my sanctuaries, for I am the Lord who hallows you. And Moses spoke to Aaron and to his sons and to all the Israelites. Chapter 22. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, that they keep apart from the sacred donations of the Israelites, lest they profane my holy name, which they consecrate to me. I am the Lord. Say to them, To your generations, any man of all your seed who draws near the sacred donations to the Israelites consecrate to the Lord with the uncleanness upon him. That person shall be cut off from before me. I am the Lord. Any man whomsoever from the seed of Aaron, when he is smitten with skin blanch or discharge from his member, shall not eat of the sacred donations until he becomes clean, nor he who touches anything unclean through a dead person, nor a man who has had an emission of seed, nor a man who has touched any swarming thing by which one becomes unclean, or a human being by which one becomes unclean with any uncleanness. A person who touches these shall be unclean till evening, and shall not eat of the sacred donations until he bathes his body in water and the sun sets, and he becomes clean. And after he may eat of the sacred donations, for it is his bread. A beast that has died, or one torn by predators, he shall not eat. to be defiled by it. I am the Lord, and they shall keep my watch and not bear offense for it and die through it when they profane it. I am the Lord who hallows them, and no outsider shall eat a sacred donation. A priest's resident hireling shall not eat the sacred donation, and should the priest buy a person as the purchase of his silver, that person may eat of it, and he who is born in his household, they may eat of his bread. And should a priest's daughter be married to an outsider, she shall not eat of the levy of the sacred donations. And should a priest's daughter become a widow or divorced, having no seed, and she come back to her father's house as in her youth, of her father's bread she may eat, but no outsider shall eat of it. And should a man eat the sacred donation in errands, he shall add a fifth of his value to it and give the sacred donation to the priest. And they shall not profane the sacred donations of the Israelites that they set aside for the Lord, causing them to bear the punishment of the guilt for having eaten of their sacred donations, for I am the Lord who hallows them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons and to the Israelites, and you shall say to them, Every man of the house of Israel and of the sojourner in Israel who brings forward his offering for any of their votive offerings or their freewill offerings that they bring forward to the Lord as burnt offerings to be acceptable for you, it shall be an unblemished male from the cattle, the sheep, or the goats. Whatever has a defect you shall not bring forward, for it will not be acceptable for you. And should a man bring forward a communion sacrifice to the Lord, to set aside as a votive offering or freewill offering from the cattle or from the flock, it shall be unblemished, to be acceptable. No defect shall there be in it, anything blind or broken or lacerated or with a wen or scab or skin flake. These you shall not bring forward to the Lord, and no fire offering from them shall you put on the altar to the Lord. And a bull or sheep with a stretched or crimped limb you may make a free will offering, but it shall not be acceptable as a votive offering. And anything with crushed or smashed or torn or cut off testes you shall not bring forward to the Lord, and in your land you shall not do it. And from the hand of a foreigner you shall not bring forward your God's bread from any of these. Their deformity is in them, a defect is in them. They shall not be acceptable for you. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, When a bull or a goat is born, it shall be 7 days under its mother, and from the 8th day onward it is acceptable as a fire offering to the Lord. And a bull or sheep you shall not sacrifice it with its young on the same day. And when you sacrifice a thanksgiving sacrifice to the Lord, you shall sacrifice it so as to be acceptable for you. On that day it shall be eaten. You shall leave nothing of it till morning. I am the Lord, and you shall keep my commands and do them. I am the Lord. And you shall not profane my holy name, and I shall be hallowed in the midst of the Israelites. I am the Lord who hallows you, bringing you out of the land of Egypt to be God for you. I am the Lord.